Minty. I am the owner and founder of Whitehorse Milsim.
Hi, I'm Ogre. I've been with Whitehorse for just under a year now.
Hey, I'm Doc Lamao. Been with Whitehorse for about 3 years now.
And today we're going to be talking about why proper footwear matters.
Boots.
So covering over a couple things. When you're going on one of these large events or anything, even if you're going out and camping out in the woods and you're going to be walking a lot, your feet matter. Making sure that you're taking care of your feet and not cheaping out on a good quality pair of footwear matters. Like not going out into, say, hypothetically, an Airsoft event and wearing something like my Vans tennis shoes or some Nike New Balances or anything like that versus wearing something like a robust pair of military grade footwear or even something similar. The reason why you want to do things like that, I mean, these two will also be able to expand on it a little bit more, but you want something that's going to give you proper ankle support and also be able to take even potentially some of that weight off of you when you're actually going out and rucking or doing anything that might actually put some more weight on your body. The things that boots are really well capable of doing are even giving you a better tread when you're walking around. Like for instance, Vans flat foot, that's not going to provide you any comfort. It's at best just going to provide you a form of stability on flat ground, which I think all three of us know that if you're going out into an event, you're probably going to have little to no flat ground. So having good footwear matters a lot. You don't want your feet to get tired out after like 2 miles. I mean, realistically, cheaping out on a good pair of footwear, even going to Walmart and buying a pair of boots might not be the best option because, I mean, they're just not great quality. And going over a couple more things, we'll talk about boots that actually have better quality than just your average boots that you can buy at the store.
Yep. And I've seen a lot of people that will argue that you do want to wear like skate shoes when you go to like Airsoft events. And yeah, you'll see that at like a lot of open plays or maybe like a CQB type of field because the cool guys, special operator guys, they're always wearing skate shoes when they do their CQB shoe house trainings. But like Minty was saying, that's on flat ground. When you go into the woods, it's a completely different story. Now you're going to want some good arch support. You're going to want boots that have some sort of type of heel because that's going to mean that there is arch support built into it. You'll want something that hugs your ankles like he just talked about. But yeah, that's why we're not here recommending like skate shoes or even like steel toe work boots. Those are super, super heavy. Yeah, they have ankle support, but you're not going to be happy walking around with super heavy boots. You're going to feel that weight on your feet after not a lot of time. So, yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about what you actually have for boots, Minty.
So what I have here in front of me is my Garma NFSs. I've used them for rucking. I can't say they're my most favorite for rucking, but they definitely provide great ankle support still. They provide a very comfortable fit, very similar to a tennis shoe. They're very lightweight. I have other pairs from Belleville that have steel toe in them. They're very large and heavy. And as great as those are, and I have rucked in those and been comfortable too, I prefer this more lightweight fit because it allows me to actually move my foot around in it. I feel a little bit more comfortable feeling it. But on top of that, my most overall favorite feature of these boots is that they have a speed lace on it that basically, if I was to tie them up, I can just pull this up and my boot's already laced up and all I have to do is tie it and tuck the laces away. And everything down here becomes nice and tight. So I don't have to worry about it getting loose on me at any point and having to bend over and tie my shoe while I'm like actively rucking. Because not only does that eat up time, but trying to do that with a ruck on your back is almost impossible.
So moving on to my boots, I have the 511 A&T boots. So these are kind of a good in-between between what Minty has and what Lamau has here. So they're lighter than Lamau's. They're not quite as lightweight as Minty's. And then my favorite feature about these is they have the 511 Atlas system, which is when you're rucking or you're hiking is meant to kind of help take weight a little bit off of your body, and it's something like it doesn't take a ton, but it is noticeable, and it does make these a lot more comfortable to ruck in. They are also pretty breathable as well, and it's kind of like a good in between a dedicated military style boot and a hiking boot.
Over here, these are the Rocky S2V Jungle Boots. Recently got these. They are pretty new still. I gotta break them in. But the reason I want the Jungle Boots over what I had previously is because I wanted something that was more breathable. Like these guys already said, they have very breathable boots. I was late to the party. I learned the hard way that having breathable boots are very important. I was using Goretex. We'll talk about that later, but that's why I want the Jungle Boot. These will shed water very easily, and they have mesh panels all over the place to help them let your feet just evaporate some of that sweat out of the boot. These also have a similar quick lace system, and I'm not a huge fan of these laces. They are very abrasive and very skinny. So you do kind of feel them on your foot more when you tighten them down. I'm probably going to look at getting something more similar to what these guys have. They have chunkier laces, which I do think is going to be more comfortable in the long run. Tread, like these guys were talking about, having aggressive tread is also important when you're in the woods. Make sure if you already have some boots, but you're not sure if you should replace them yet. Taking a look at the tread is definitely the first thing you should look at. A lot of people maybe don't think of it immediately when they're evaluating whether their shoe needs replaced. Like holes. That's a more obvious sign, right? But tread, I think, is arguably more important because when you step on wet rocks or wet tree roots and things like that, face planting is not an enjoyable time.
I was about to say those have a more aggressive tread than what these 511 boots have, which is what I like about yours. And it seems like a thicker sole, so it's more material to wear down over a longer period of time as well.
Yep, yeah, that's why they're jungle boots. They are super aggressive, made to go through the mud. But Ogre. So, what are your thoughts on breathable versus waterproof boots?
So waterproof's definitely going to have its time and place. Mostly going to be in the winter and or the wetter months. I would say during spring, summer, and early fall, you're going to want a jungle style boot or a boot that's breathable. Just simply because you only really need the Goretex when it is wet or it's cold. You don't need it in a situation where it's warm enough where your boots are going to dry out over or the course of you using them, or while your socks are going to dry out, because you want to get that moisture out of your boot. Well, the Goretex is designed to you're just keeping the with jungle style boots, you want to get the moisture out of the boots as quickly as possible. The Goretex is kind of you don't want to get any moisture at all in your boots, and it will stop moisture from getting in, but you also need to control your movement and your sweat, because if you're sweating a ton, then the moisture you are getting in these boots, you're not going to be getting out of the boots. So it's kind of more of for colder weather environments where you're not moving as fast, you're not sweating as much, they're not something you want to wear in the summer.
Mm-hmm. So I've worn these waterproof boots for the last 2 events in a row. These are they are Solomon Quest 40 Gore-Tex boots. These are made for hiking, but they work great. They still have all the ankle support and they have a good aggressive tread. But I learned the hard way how it goes when you have Gore-Tex boots and it gets hot outside. I had to change my socks a ton to keep myself from getting blisters on my feet. And I did. You can do it. I successfully got no blisters on my feet, but I went through twice as many socks as I thought I was going to. I brought 6 pairs of socks, thankfully, even though I only thought I needed 4. But I went through all 6. Like he was saying, sometimes if it's going to be hot outside, even if it's going to be wet, you might want to consider just wearing breathable boots, just to let that moisture escape. And your boots will dry. But with these, if it's hot outside and you get water in your boots from the sweat, they will not evaporate. You will have wet boots almost the whole time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, Gore-Tex is designed where it's like, oh, it'll let or stop water from coming in. It's supposed to let water out. It almost never actually works like that.
It does not let water out.
Yeah.
That's what I've always heard too. Yeah, Gore-Tex is Gore-Tex has some breathable properties, but I've never.
But yeah,
I haven't
that's
found that to be the
breathable
case.
properties that typically don't work.
Yep. Yeah. Minty, what are your thoughts?
For Gore-Tex boots, as somebody that used to live in Alaska, Gore-Tex boots are like something we all used to swear by. So, I mean, you have that, but I mean, aside from that, yeah, it completely makes sense that like water is not going to come out of those boots because it doesn't want to let it in the first place. So, they definitely work in cold or wet environments. Terrible in the summer. That's why I think like something like these, or the boots that you had up earlier are a lot better for summer.
Yeah, because those boots aren't meant to be insulated, but even looking at them, they do see, like, the material does seem to even insulate your feet a little bit more. So it's kind of
they do.
more like cold, wet, like, definitely it's more of a cold weather type boot.
Yep, can confirm. Yeah, I could see these being great in Alaska, like you're saying. Why do you want Gore-Tex boots when it's cold out?
I mean, for one, it's going to keep your feet warm. I mean, for the most part, it'll keep your feet warm just due to the fact that the moisture isn't getting in, like the cold moisture. Downsides to it, though, are that the sweat that you have in there, once you stop moving, is going to get cold. So it does have its cons, but for the most part, it's going to keep you warm a lot longer than something like this where, you know, I don't know, let's say hypothetically I go trudging through the snow for 10 minutes. All this is soaked. I'm completely soaked. My socks are probably going to be soaked. And now I have to change both my footwear and my socks, whereas something like that, I might just need to change my socks. And it won't even be from the water from the outside. It'll be from my own sweat from the inside. And after I've changed my socks, I'm back to warm again. So they do have their pros and cons. Like, you're not getting any of the moisture from the outside in, which is something you do want to keep out because, I mean, that's going to have things like your bacteria and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, sweat's not that much better for you, but once you've changed your socks, it's practically like having a whole fresh set ready to go. Whereas like this, I'm going to need a whole new pair of footwear just to get by through the rest of the day. So
That's fair. Yeah, I'll touch on that real quick. So the reasons why I went with Gore-Tex originally was because the forecast was showing it to be in like the mid 70s for this one event, but it was going to get down into the 40s at night. So I thought, okay, I'm going to want the Gore-Tex to keep my feet a little bit warmer during the nighttime. And I also knew that, you know, when you wake up in the morning, there's always dew on the ground. And I've heard that that can be problematic. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe the Gore-Tex will keep that water out of my boots. But I don't know. I found myself way more irritated from having sweaty feet than if I just would have had somewhat damp feet for maybe an hour in the mornings. Like sweaty feet continuously sounds way worse than having damp feet for an hour or two at a time in the morning.
Yeah, because dew dissipates pretty quickly, especially if it's sunny.
Now, I would say one of the pros for Gore-Tex, aside from anything moisture related, is that with all that Gore-Tex padding, it is a lot more comfortable of a fit because it is a lot more snug, which does actually provide a lot more ankle support than something like these that we have up here. But it's coming at a pretty large cost.
Right.
So that's why these still run the game for things like anything hot related or less wet weather.
And I've never really been in a position with my boots where, like, you know, I've been wearing these and I'm like, man, I really wish I had some more ankle support. Like, you know, they've always provided an adequate amount of ankle support.
Exactly.
Whether I'm doing Milsim or whether I'm doing like a 10-mile hike.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
So what other kinds of footwear exist that we have?
Yeah, so
Right now?
I hear a lot of people that, like we were saying earlier, a lot of people like those skate shoes, but then you also see other people wear trail running shoes. And that's kind of what these are. These are also Gore-Tex. These are Adidas Terex sneakers. And like I said, they're made for trail running, so they do have a nice aggressive tread on the bottom. It's like Continental rubber, you know, very, very good stuff. And the thought process, I have run these at Milsim events before. I ran these at both of the Centurion events that we've been to.
Yep.
And they were, I liked the part where it does let some heat escape more because you just have less material on your foot. Right, these are like half the material of a boot, right? So,
I mean, I would say like these are going to be fine for like a more urban AO, or if you're doing something in like a hotter environment, like if you're down at like Copperhead. Mm-hmm. Like,
yep, I wore these at the MUTC, and then I wore them at Arena Training Center in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was very happy with them, but I'll tell you what, at that Georgia event especially, my feet got very sweaty.
Oh yeah.
I had no need. I would have been better off wearing boots like these guys have. They're very comfortable. They're lightweight, but I don't know. I think I'm better off with the ankle support.
Yep.
Not to mention, boots like these are more breathable. Once again, these are Goretex. So if you had trail running shoes that were not Goretex and they were breathable, those might be even more comfortable. Mm-hmm. But there's pros and cons. Everything has a trade-off.
So what are we looking at for price points on all these boots?
I would say I think these were like $150. Once again, you're paying the premium because they have a Goretex. Yep. If you got the non-Goretex versions, these were like under $100.
Do you think you would have been better served by the non-Goretex versions?
No, I use these a lot for hiking as well.
Okay.
So yeah, these are like my go-to shoes whenever it's like hiking and hiking in the rain, or even like when it's like December or November and there's starting to get some snow, but we don't have like feet of snow yet.
Yeah, those are probably going to be really good for that.
Yeah, just like a few inches of snow. These are perfect. For Airsoft, yes, I would have been better served with the non-Goretex versions.
What about your other boots, the Gore-Tex ones?
These,
I know Solomon can be kind of pricey sometimes.
Oh, well, yeah, that's where Amazon's great. Or sorry, that's where eBay is great. I bought these used. I bought these for like $60.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very nice.
Yep. I've used them at like three events now, and they served me great at the first Bad Spear event that we went to.
Yep.
Which was a 24-hour Milsim here in Michigan. So it was Michigan, and it was in October, so it wasn't very hot out at all. They worked great. Also, that AO did have a lot of puddles, and like it has like trench systems, and those trench systems had some mud inside of them. They were not fully drained out yet from the fall showers. So these worked great for that. But then I wore them, like I was talking about other events, where like got close to 90 at some events I've been to with these, and that was not a good time.
Right.
That's where I'm very excited. I have not ran these at an event yet. Like I said, I still got to break them in some more before I actually wear them to an event that has rucking. But my goal is to avoid the sweaty feet.
Yeah, that would be a good move.
Yeah.
How much did those run you?
These are pricey. These are like $200.
And what about your 511s, Ogre?
So these 511s, I mean, based on what their sales are, I mean, you can get them anywhere from 180 down to $140. I believe I paid 140 for these, and then I have a black pair that I paid 160 for. And then one thing I will kind of show here, if I can get it on the camera. So, like, they have... Oh, I probably can't get it on the camera. No, I was going to show off, like, the Atlas, support system. Because they have,
Is that
like
an aftermarket thing, or?
No, that's, like, what's actually, like, built into the boot. And maybe I can take some pictures of it and we can, like, put some B-roll. But, like, you have, like, essentially, like, that hard plastic, that's just built into the sole. It kind of acts as kind of, like, the way it's positioned, it kind of acts as, like, a springboard. So it makes it to where, like, when you step, it kind of helps, like, push you up a little bit. Yep. So that's why, like, and they're, like, they're just like, hey, this is, like, taking, like, 10 or 20 pounds, like, off your body. Because it's kind of, like I said, it adds literally adds like a little bit of bounce to your step.
Adds some spring to your step.
Yeah. And like it's actually a really cool innovation. And then like also like I just kind of have that hard plastic shell there to where if I step on something sharp, it's going to help like prevent it from also like pinching into my boot.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, having some sort of puncture resistant outsole is a good idea.
Yep.
Oh yeah. The Garma NFSs, they can be kind of cheap sometimes. I've seen them as low as 110 on Amazon and as high as 180. It just kind of depends on when you're buying into them. But like I said, they're kind of like tennis shoes. Again, probably not your greatest boot ever for rucking. But to me, I have used them for rucking. I'd say anything under about 10 miles is pretty great. But yeah, for the price point, I'd say these boots are really, really good, especially for Airsoft, because most of the time when we're not rucking, we're on our feet still, and you still want something comfortable. And that's one of the trade-offs with these is not having as aggressive of an outsole does actually kind of allow you to have more comfort on the interior of the boot because you don't feel like you're not able to feel the ground anymore. Like if you can't feel those little dips in the ground or anything like that, it's kind of nice that you kind of can feel them so you know kind of where to step. And especially if you're one of the people that likes to trudge around in the woods and try to be secret squirrel operations over here, it is a lot better to have less of that aggressive of a sole. As good as an aggressive sole actually is, it does allow you to be a little bit more quiet in the woods too. So
That makes a lot of sense. You can actually feel if you're about to maybe like break a stick.
Exactly. So, and that's kind of the gist of like proper footwear aside from, covering things like just not wearing these improper shoes that we've seen at so many Airsoft events with like, I don't know, like just even the Vans shoes is just, it baffles me sometimes to see people running around in Vans shoes at something much larger than just a rec game with flat ground. Like I'm like, how do your ankles not hurt after like a little bit? I mean, I've worn Vans shoes for far over 8 hours working on flat ground, and my ankles still hurt. So,
Yeah,
so last I checked, we weren't on skateboards.
Yeah, we just been sitting here filming for a couple hours, and my hey dudes right now, like my feet hurt.
Yeah.
All I've just been doing is sitting here. So.
Yep. Yeah, having arch support makes a big difference. Having ankle support makes a big difference. Having breathable panels makes a big difference.
And some of these boots too, like even these ones, they have holes on like the interior sides of them, like right here and right here. To, like,
those drainage holes.
Yeah, drainage holes to let out water whenever you get a bunch of water in your boot.
Yep, you've got those.
Yeah, if you're looking for a pair of boots, that's one of the features that you want to make sure that it has is some way of draining excess moisture. If you do step in a puddle, that's going to, flood past the sole.
Yeah. Oh, one final bonus tip for you guys. Have you probably learned? I'm sure I'm speaking for the choir, but your feet swell up when you're rucking.
Absolutely.
Yep. So I learned that I want to bumped myself up to the wide size to have more room for in my toe box, so that way when my feet swell up after rucking for a while, I can still feel my toes.
Yep, and if you already bought a pair of boots, like you're already beyond this part of the video where you've already got a pair of less wide boots. Another pro tip from my time from when I did the Norwegian was loosening some of your bottom ones down here a little bit. Not much, just a small little amount, only enough to get it off of your foot, just a tad bit. Because once your foot swells, it's going to swell back into that space again. But trying not to overly adjust it, you don't obviously want your boot to almost fall off, because if your boot is falling off, then you're just going to eventually get friction, which then causes blisters. But if you keep it kind of loose, if you got like boots like mine, just loosen them up just a little bit, and you'll get almost a little bit. I wouldn't say as good as wide. Wide's going to give you a lot more room to actually move your foot around, but you can get yourself a little extra room just by loosening them up just a little bit.
And just one thing that I just thought of here too, if you are looking for a good pair of boots, I would say avoid anything that has like a side zipper They're convenient, but it is a failure point. Like for the boots, none of ours here have like a side zip.
Yep.
I mean, you could probably find versions of these boots with the side zips and everything, but like 9 times out of 10 of those boots fail. It's gonna be because the zipper just breaks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention that would be like a high friction zone, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That could rub you raw.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a high friction zone. It's an area that can that's a little bit more susceptible to getting moisture in if it's meant to be a waterproof boot. And like I said, it's just going to be it's like if your feet are swelling up, or you're doing awkward movements, or you twist your ankle or something in a way that wants to kind of break that zipper. It's going to be the weakest part of the boot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
And it's also at the point where if that's a part of the boot that fails, then that pair of boots is basically done for that entire event. You're not going to be able to that's not something you're really going to be able to recover from.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck doing a field repair on a zipper.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, but who wants to bring that kind of equipment to an airsoft game?
I mean, and also do you do the field repair on the zipper, it's not going to be as strong as it was before. So again, you're going to get maybe a couple miles more and then it's just going to bust open again.
Yep. Makes perfect sense.
All right.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for watching the video, guys. We appreciate your time. And I'm Doc Lamao.
I'm Ogre.
And I'm Minty.
And we're Whitehorse Milsim. We'll see you next time.